Hi, I'm Varushka. Welcome to Salt of the Earth. I'm a healing arts coach and a love activist. And today I get to speak with a very dear and special friend in India, my friend Kalki Subramaniam. I hope I said that right. She's the founder of Sahodari Foundation. She's an artist, an activist, an actor, a writer, author, just published a book and does poetry, and she's also a transgender woman. Kalki founded the Sahodari Foundation in 2008 to establish social justice and recognize transgender people's rights in India. For more than a decade, she's worked intensively and achieved milestones for the rights of the community. Her contribution in the verdict and recognition of transgender identity by the Supreme Court of India in 2014 is immense and noteworthy. She also holds 2 master's degrees and was conferred honorary doctorate in 2017 for her work on transgender empowerment in India. She's spoken at Harvard University, also has some TED Talks on YouTube. On transgender rights, and received a standing ovation for her thoughtful and moving speech in February 2017. I personally feel completely unqualified to be speaking with her, but fortunately I met her under the circumstances in someone's home in Berkeley, and we're the same age, and we connected over art, and we found out that we started doing art about 5-6 years ago, the same month, the same year, at the same age, and we both had shared that art changed our lives. So we ended up going museums together. We ended up being in Amsterdam at different times for artistic reasons and gotten to connect here and there. And so I'm just really excited to share Kalki's path with art and her passion for it, because she is multi-passionate just like I am, and always creating and producing. So Kalki, welcome. Please let me know what brought you to art.
Thank you, Varishka. I really cherish the times that we met in San Francisco, and I often think about it. And I'm so proud of what you do, especially the kind of holistic work that you have been doing for, since I know you, I've been following you, and I just simply in awe of the things that you do, whether it is the tapping thing, or it is your holistic mix of different flavors and oils for wellness, or it's the deck of cards that you produce, and the photographs and the artistic expressions in those pictures, and the way you bring it, everything is awesome. I just love it. And I am fortunate to have met you, because you are a great inspiration for a single woman like me to pursue my passion. In that way, I think we both are seeing each other as friends and sisters and growing together, which is amazing, and which is how friends should be and sisters should be too. So for me, it was really great meeting you, and yeah, a lot of work I've done since the day we met in San Francisco. A lot has happened in my life, and I'm here to share it with you.
Yay. Warms my heart so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that is your art in the background right now, and I just was curious how actually the medium of doing the art on the big scale and murals that you've done, like how that came into your life, that you started.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah, art has been a part of my life right from my young age. As a gender confused, gender non-conforming child, I was going through so much of conflict because I couldn't speak or express about what I went through to my family, my mother or father, and I couldn't talk about my struggles with my friends, my internal struggles with my friends or schoolmates, nobody. And I used to hide. I used to run away from classes because people used to bully me uh, in the school. So I used to run to the nearby forest, sit under the tree, and then take up the pen and the paper, and I used to draw. And mostly I drew about what I wanted to be in the future. A girl, that's me, with a lovely long hair and long gown and lots of flowers and all that. That's what I used to draw. So I used art to visualize myself, the happiest me, the true me. That's how I used art as a tool. And then that became a practice, and it was an outlet. I used art as a very powerful medium of expression, especially those expressions I needed to do it. The true side of me was revealed in art, through art. However, as you grow up, there are other struggles, and I left art for almost 15 to 20 years. I never touched art. And it was only in 2017 I really started uh, focusing on art and then on painting. And I made a show of my paintings in Trivandrum, in India, in one of the most beautiful states. And a friend of mine really helped me in putting up the show, and she curated it. And that is the day I became recognized as the true artist, because I painted Frida Kahlo, I painted a trans woman, I painted everything that I love. So since then, there is no stopping. I've been, I paint what I love and what I feel about and what is close to me. The people that I admire. I do portraits, I do nature, I do animals, and um, yeah, that's what I do. I do experimental art too, like surrealism and cubism. So there's a lot I do.
I love the way you work with color. And one of the first ones, you brought several original ones to Berkeley that time. And I love the one
Yeah.
with the elephant. And so when I was looking through your art store now on the gallery, I saw the elephant one again. And that's my animal totem for this year, remover of obstacles.
Wow.
I just love seeing that one again.
Yeah, I always loved elephants. I have a huge liking for elephants. Um, I'm very close to them. I feel connected with them. And I feel that that's the most beautiful animal in the world.
Wow.
So
And
elephants always fascinate me.
that's so interesting that this came up. And it's such a large creature. I mean, it's the largest on the land. Um, so how is art showing up in your life in the community work that you do?
I think art has helped in healing my wounds, and I wanted to give that experience, that healing experience, to the transgender community I work with, for the people like me who have gone through so many struggles in their life. So I introduced art to them in 2018, just after 1 year of me opening up myself. I opened up it to others, my friends, my community people. And for two things, we use art. One is for livelihood. A lot of transgender women make decorative art, uh, and they sell it and they make money out of it. I give free workshops to them. We organize, mobilize the community and offer workshops and classes for them. And also, I put up all their paintings in galleries and shows and sell it and give the money to them 100%. And the other side of the art is that I use art as an expression of activism. I involve them into activism. I encourage them to speak about their life through art, through writing and all that. So we have a project called Red Wall, in which transgender women write on a handmade paper. They write the sexual abuse that happened to them, the physical or sexual, emotional abuse that happened to them because of their gender identity. And upon that, they actually imprint their painted palms on the testimonial. So we collect all these testimonials. I've done it for more than 500 trans people around the country, and we always put it on galleries and universities and colleges for young people to read it, because we wanted to bring awareness on the violence trans bodies go through, so that young people would accept and understand and empathize with the transgender community. So that is the way that art has been used in our community projects. Yeah.
Does it get recognition? Do people write about it? Do you feel like, do you receive responses from it?
Yes. Yeah. We do receive a tremendous response. Yeah, from the audience, from the media, from the academicians, we do receive a lot of good response. Yes. But what I really look for is artistic collaborations. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of my thoughts this year, that we should do some artistic collaborations with other artists, other organizations, on bringing the struggles, but at the same time, looking at hope as a solution.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fine balance in the subject matters that you're wanting to give them voice and
Yeah.
bring out the truth and the pain, and yet also art is such a great medium because it's not someone crying for attention, but it's still being put out there and presented to be honored in some way. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, you also have some art being displayed at a university in Florida, like
Yeah.
how,
University of South Florida.
yeah.
Yes.
And how do you make those connections that they're actually wanting to represent and give this topic a voice?
I think I got this mail from the department head of the University of South Florida, and she wrote a mail to me that they would like, they're conducting a show for the um, Transgender Day of Remembrance, which falls in November every year in November. So last year she contacted me saying that they are opening up a show in the Department of Gender Studies at the University of South Florida. And their exhibition is called Visibility and Remembrance. It's about only transgender people's art, but it can be done by anybody, trans or non-trans people. But the art is very much connected to trans people. So I, along with my artist community of 6 other people, I encouraged them, and I collected all their art, and I sent it to the university along with my art. The one that you see behind me, that's also one of the artwork that I sent to University of South Florida, and it is currently under in display at the university campus.
Oh,
So everybody loved our work. So the university connected with me, the department connected with me, and we made it. Yeah, that's how the connections were made. And in fact, on 22nd of this month, I have an artist talk with the university online. Yeah.
wonderful. I'm so glad that there are some outlets really giving this topic a voice, and it's so important right now. So
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
there anything coming up this year that you're planning to do in this area of your life and outreach in this way?
I think I will be doing more art this year. I certainly will be doing more art. And as I said, I'm looking for artistic collaborations and very experimental work. I also wanted to make my first short film with 2 transgender women. I have a story which I'll do it this year, and probably a theater performance as well. So usually I have a lot of dreams, but which ones will come true this year, nobody knows, but I'll put my hard work on that.
Well, it's almost like, it sounds like you've been a really good at visioning since you were little, you know, the way you were describing how you were painting yourself when you were, you know, a young boy. And like, that's incredible, that visioning. Like, in what way do you do visioning in any way with your art now? Like intentional?
Of course I do. I mean, when I actually paint, it's like one of my most um, extravagant experiences that I go through. Painting a picture for me is very exotic because I feel so happy and immersed into it. And it's like an orgasm that when I finish a painting, I feel so happy. When you do a good painting and when you look at it and you're so proud, then it's for me, it's like an orgasm. I'm so happy and ultimately so proud of my creation. And it's always fascinating to see who is going to own this artwork and when is it going to go away from me. But I always have this spiritual connection with all my artwork, whether it goes to Amsterdam, Germany, or wherever, whichever part of the world. I always have a spiritual connection because they say art is actually a part of your soul. Yeah. So you give away to somebody a part of your soul to be owned and cherished, but it is always there with you.
Mhm.
That's what they say, because it's all like branches connected everywhere, wherever it is. So for me, I see it that way. So a lot of art this year. Yeah, that's what I plan to.
I completely resonate with how you just described that. And I'm so grateful that you had even turned me on to that online healing arts course certification, because then COVID started. And so I ended up
Mm.
doing that, and it was very transformational.
You
But
did? You completed it?
yeah, it's a lot, you know, took some time.
That's lovely.
I love all the work that I accomplished through it. And so I want to credit you for that. It was the perfect timing.
Oh, that's so nice to know.
And every time I start anew, I'm looking for some art right now. Um, it's still, I feel like I'm doing it for the first time. I still feel like I don't know anything and that I suck and blah, blah, but you just do one thing and then the next, and the next color and the next shape. And then suddenly this thing that you didn't even know where it came from, you know, it's like you
Uh,
don't know how your baby's going to look like, you know, you just have to be patient,
exactly.
and you can't really judge it. And even when you do judge it, 3 weeks later, you think it's the most amazing thing, you know. So
Yeah,
you know, you kind of make a full circle around it. So I'm
true.
curious, um, you know, what you would suggest to people in that like that you support, that just start doing art and are trying to work with their emotions. What kind of advice do you give them when they're starting?
I think for people, I mean, as an advice, I would say that forget about creating your own style, because there's this pressure for artists to have a style for themselves. I think that is bullshit. Uh, the first thing is you should paint what your heart says. Yeah, you should paint what you really wanted to, not because something is so wanted in the market, or something is in, or something is right now famous, or some replica or something like that. But you need to, people need to understand, artists need to understand that it's not about perfection, it's about expression. Yeah, it's not
Exactly.
about perfection, actually it's about expression, because some of the greatest artists in the world. They were not really perfect, but they were full of expression, like Van Gogh. Van Gogh's art was not really perfect, but his expressions were deep and honest and vivid, and that is what I think makes an artist truly be cherished. And that is the only thing I wanted to say. Don't fake yourself, just be yourself on the canvas. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really moved for the gravity of the work you do and what you have to deal with, and the pointing attention to these issues that no one, it's not fun to talk about. No, who wants to talk about this stuff? And I just love that you offer it with such grace and poise, that even this hard and content and these true people's stories, that you're able to transmit it with the art and put it in their face, but yet you're holding really a state of grace. And I find that the way that you have found your niche with art and activism is so powerful, with your acting and poetry and all the visual things. It's just
Thank you.
really, it makes it more accessible, and then people are more willing to look at it rather than to be repelled and by it, and don't want to deal with these things. So you've written a book in the last year, and I'm wondering if you would like to share a poem out of it.
Yes. Last year in June, I published my first book in English. Previously, I've published in Tamil. And some of my Tamil poetry, Tamil language poetry, is already in the curriculum of schools and universities. And now, this year, last year, in June, I came up with the book called We Are Not the Others. So We Are Not the Others is a collection of my poetry, essay, my illustrations, and monologues and real life conversations that happened in my life. So the book has been really having a very good reception. Especially it is already, many of the poetry in the book is already appearing in some of the colleges as curriculum, and on Amazon it's been having a great review as well. So I'm really honored to read a couple of poems, maybe. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going to read a poetry from this book, my book, We Are Not the Others.
Such a great cover, so powerful.
Thank you. Thank you. And the contents are also, the whole book was actually designed by me.
Amazing.
Sorry if it appears and disappears.
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah, I'm going to read one of the poetry, but I would like to read the first page. I speak because we need to be heard. I write because we need to be understood. I dare because we need to survive. And that is how the book starts. So I'm going to read about one particular poem. Yeah. Don't tell that to me is what is the name of the poetry is. Don't tell that to me. I'm tired of you telling me how I don't look like a transgender woman. I'm tired of you telling me I look just like a real woman. I'm tired of you telling me I'm so brave. I'm tired of you telling me everything is perfect except my voice, which could be more feminine. I am tired of you asking me, when was the first time I felt that I'm a transgender? I am tired of you asking me if I live with my family. I'm tired of your curiosity. I'm tired of your sympathy. I'm tired of your stare. I'm tired of your whispers. I'm tired of you asking me to bless you. To you and to the million others, I want to shout, I am made of flesh and blood, of fear and hope, of joy and pain. I am like you. I am human too. So this is one poetry I wrote. Um, Suddenly it just came to me just before publishing of the book. It just poured into me when I was actually in the shower. So I just put it on the paper. Yeah. This poetry, I would say, is in the context because there's too many, a lot of people are judgmental about what really a woman is, how perfect a woman is. If I am 100% a woman or 90% a woman or 70% a woman, or which part of my woman being a woman is not women, things like that, a lot, speculation and judgmental and all that. So this is my poetry about that. And also I would like to read a little conversation from this happened in reality, of course, when I was living in Pondicherry, in a village. This conversation really happened, and I have documented the conversation. It's between a little girl and me, and it is actually titled A Little Girl and Me. Hello, Kalki auntie. Hi, Chellamma. Shall we play in the garden? Yes, yes, I'm ready, baby. Let me pick up the rings and the rope. Auntie, yes, sweetie. You're a beautiful lady. Why is your voice like a boy's? Because, Chellamma, I was born a boy, suffered much, and I became a girl. Is it, auntie? Yes, dear. Okay, auntie, come, let us play. So that is how it concludes, and that is how exactly it concluded too. And why I wrote this poetry is that a child is so non-judgmental. It it has a question because that it is also being conditioned by the society, by its own parents. It has a question coming from out of that conditioning. But when you explain it to it, your side of the story, they understand it and they completely accept you unconditionally. And that is how I saw my conversation with the girl happen. After this conversation, we just went ahead, we just played.
Yeah.
We were playing and we were happy. So I see a lot of people asking me the same kind of question too. Like, you're so beautiful and your voice is so deep and I love it and all that. And a lot of judgments too. But this one was something that was truly true, truly truthful.
Right.
So I thought like I should put it because a child is pure, and that purity is what I always look for in people. Yeah, they just have to let me live as I am and accept me as I am, and not throw hatred or judgmental about who I am and all that. Not only about me, but a lot of other people too, because we are being racist, we are being xenophobic. Um, we have so much to judge others that we don't even understand that who are we to judge somebody else when our own life is not being judged by us.
Yeah.
I mean, not being valued by us.
Right.
So that is what it is. My poetry and conversation from the book "We Are Not the Others" is all about that. It's so personal to me. It's a personal account, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. Even in the book, I've spoken about my body too. One of the topics I've actually spoken in the book is my perfectly imperfect vagina. And I talk about my vagina because I went through this sex reassignment surgery, which was not 100% successful. So I talk about that too, the kind of medical abuse that I and people like me, transgender women, go through, and what really happened to my body, and how I became how I was so vulnerable to it and became a victim to it, and I've accounted that too. So as an activist, I think it's really important to document whatever happened to you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring, and I thank you for sharing that, because people do have so many questions, and I just feel like if you are going to try to help people, it's so important to be as transparent as you can,
Yeah.
because you 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 are so beautiful, and you portray yourself with poise and and have an authoritative um voice and all of that. And so to bring out the taboos, to actually be that vulnerable to share these things, I think it's really important, because in any which way it's so easy to project on others that it worked out for them but not for me, or they have it all. And it's funny because I don't even notice your voice. To me, you just have a
Mhm.
strong feminine voice. um, so anyway, I do appreciate also the arc of contrast that you're sharing in there, from the childlike innocence. Like, I think to get through these other hardships of our humanness and expectation and fitting in, that it's such a reset to come back to that pure innocence, but with real eyes, instead of like, oh, that's, oh, that's nice. But yeah, I love that you were just so like-minded. I can really appreciate that you're just go full Monty. This is the truth, you know? And then
Yeah, absolutely.
the whole buffet, right?
Sahodari.
So yeah, thank you. That's, I always feel like you're reading my mind or something. A lot of times, like that you bring up. Um, So I'm just curious, like, what has been a challenge for you in the last year, in the personal challenge, and how you've worked through it? Is there anything you want to share?
um,
The audio is off there.
am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. Last year was actually challenging in many ways. I think I felt so lonely being in lockdown. And for a few months, I was actually depressed. But somehow I bounced back and managed. And I think during the month of July, August, uh, yeah, the last 6 months was good because I brought out my book and started working on my book promotions and all that. But the first 6 months were very, very difficult. I was depressed, and I felt lonely. Then there is this artist thing, like artists are a little bit crazy people too. So you feel like burning up all your art and everything that you have written, and you want to go sit in the top of the mountain and start your life new. And you get fed up of everything around you and you wanted to start something so fresh and new. So I felt that way too. I wanted to burn out all my clothes and buy some new clothes and start my life fresh with some good books and some new clothes, simple ones, and then take some money and go on a long journey. I felt like that too. And I want to travel without money and see how I can manage in this world without money as a single transgender woman. So all these things came up into into my little brain last year, but not everything was possible. So I was a little bit depressed. But I came out, basically my book helped me for me to come out of it too. And that's what it is. Art is fabulous. It really helped me to come out. Through this book came my savior, and that's how my last year happened. I gave birth to this baby called We Are Not the Others.
Wow, I totally agree relating to it about giving birth to these different projects. It's been very interesting. And my body has been acting like it too. So I can relate. Yeah, I mean, lockdown has probably brought up a lot for people, and I feel you. Do you feel that this coming year has an energy signature for you that you're focusing on? Can you
Yes, I very much. What, Virishka?
can you hear me okay? It seems like it's getting weird.
No, I can hear you. Yes, clearly. I think 2022 is going to be fabulous. I'm hopeful. And especially, I'm planning to bring my second book, a theater production, um, a short film, more art. This year, I wanted to do a very large artwork and exhibit it. And I wanted to travel to a lot of countries and collaborate with artists and all that. So let's see what is coming out of this for this year. Yeah, but I don't have a particular resolution for this year. I don't do this resolution thing anymore.
Yeah.
Because as everyone, I also fail in that.
But you have some exciting visions that you want to that you're open to explore. So is there any traveling on the agenda for projects yet? And within yet?
I think in September I will be going to Amsterdam for sure.
Oh, nice. It's so amazing that you created that connection with Europe and the powerful work you're sharing over there. Do you want to share a little bit about your role in what you facilitated there?
Yeah, that is for 15 years I've been friends with a friend of mine called Yuvo was Manuel Diaz, who is a trans man. I met him first in 2005 on Facebook, and since then we became friends. I think I met him in 2006, I think so. Since then, we have been friends for more than a decade, and for 15 years we never saw each other, but we exchanged messages of hope and honor and respect for each other's work. He's also an activist. So it was only in 2019 I saw him first in person, because when he heard that I came to Europe, he invited me to Amsterdam. So I went all the way with a friend of mine. I went to Amsterdam to meet him, and he arranged for an art show because I had also brought my paintings. So I displayed my art, I read my poetry, and we kind of roamed around the town for more than 5-6 days. Very exciting it was. So I had this deep connection with the transgender community in Amsterdam, which is artistic community, of course, and spiritual and artistic community. And we read poetry, we created art, and we exhibited art. And We roamed around the water in boats and everything. And I went to a lot of museums, many museums, especially Van Gogh Museum. Yeah, I went to the Van Gogh Museum with my trans man friend Hugo, and we had a great experience running around Van Gogh's painting, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, and it was lovely. So I still and will always have the deep connection with my friends in Amsterdam who are trans people and non-binary. And it doesn't matter to me if they are trans or not. What really matters is I see a person beyond gender, like I see you. I don't see you as a female. I see you as a human. And I see my friends in Amsterdam as really lovable humans. And that's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my Amsterdam connection.
Well, I hope to visit some museums with you in India sometime in the near future.
Of
Um,
course.
so I'm curious, the fact that you have been such a well sought out speaker in your activism, and the things that you brought forward about the trans community, and speaking at Harvard, and the different speaking engagements you've done publicly, what do you feel like is a huge vision that you'd have that you feel like you've made a big difference in getting your heart's work?
Um, my Harvard speech is one of the most important accomplishments that I did a few years ago, I would say, because it was a very sensitive thing to speak in another country, in another university, about my work here and the kind of history and politics that is happening for transgender people in our country. But it was worth it. I spoke spontaneously without even uh, preparing anything. I spoke about how in ancient India transgender people were respected, and how after the arrival of the British and colonization, it has been destroyed, and how the community came down. And I spoke about the importance of empathy and acceptance of transgender and non-binary people. And I also read my poetry. So end of my speech, everyone stood up and gave me a standing ovation. So that was really very touching for me. And I was truly honored to be invited and be a voice of the community, transgender community, and the voice that spoke at Harvard. It was truly a very happy thing, honored. Yeah.
How do you top that? Like in your dreams of achievements, like how do you top that? Like, is there another route or different vision, maybe even through your art? What would be a dream come true that you feel like this is how I want to see some of my accomplishments in this form, or your message?
Um, I would say that I don't have expectations in my life at all. I don't even have a plan about my life. I don't have expectations like this is what I should do. This is what, no. I do have goals and missions in my life, but usually I go with the flow. I move like a leaf on the river, and even the recognitions and awards and everything, it's just momentary. I just feel happy and it's momentary and it fleets away. Uh, I try to be the very level-headed person I am, and ultimately, I try to be at peace. I don't get carried away by anything. So basically, I just wanted to be a nice human being to everybody around and create things that are beautiful, meaningful, and visionary. That's it. So that is what I wanted to do. It could be a poetry, a theater production, an artwork, anything. And it comes out spontaneously. Yeah.
Beautiful. I really see that in you. How do you deal emotionally, or how do you offer emotional support to transgendered people who are coming to you that, are just trying to deal with everything? Like, what kind of advice do you give them to navigate emotionally?
I think transgender people really need support, not only transgender people in India, but transgender people around the world do need a lot of support, because this is one community that has been misunderstood, but needs to be understood. And transgender people are not different than any others, not different than the cis people, because we all go through the same kind of struggles and emotions. And we all wanted to live a life of dignity, whether you are a cisgender or a transgender. So for trans people, because of the lack of acceptance from their family and the bullying that they go through at schools and academic institutions and in public, many of them are depressed, or they don't know where their life is taking them to, and they lack confidence and hope. So basically, I counsel them, I show them a path, and I guide them, and I give that power and light to them on how to hold themselves high with dignity and walk in the path of truth and honesty, and be just themselves and never feel ashamed of who they are. So this is what I guide them.
So beautiful. I'm amazed that you're not completely stressed out or inundated with people, wanting your help, or I don't even know how you manage that being in your position, because you must have to hear a lot of awful things that happen, or people feeling really desperate or whatnot. So I
The
really,
kind of work I do, I'm very passionate about what I do. I do only things I love, and I'm very passionate about what I do. So there's no, uh, even though occasionally I might feel stressed, I come back to art and I refresh myself, and then I go back. Yes.
beautiful. Well, I want to thank you for your time, and I'm so, again, so impressed with the body of work. And you really are a soul that follows their passion, and I love that kind of that playfulness that somehow our spirit has managed to stay in that playful side of curiosity and trying new things. And that's what I'm so inspired by you, where age doesn't matter, gender doesn't matter, but remaining in that innocent, curious space of just exploration, and that's what inspires me.
Yeah. Thank you, Varishka, for this beautiful moment with you. I truly cherish it, and I thank you for taking me through the my past, and making me think about my future and all that. Um, Being interviewed by you means so much to me, and I really appreciate and um, cherish it. And yes, thank you for your time too. Yeah, and I hope to collaborate with you some way to do something artistic.
Yeah, and yeah, I am open to it. Yeah, and whatever healing art, magic, and juju, I lived in India when I was 5, and I have very fundamental memories, and Indian food is still one of my all-time favorite foods. And I remember seeing the Taj Mahal. I actually just looked at pictures the other day to just remember and bring in that feeling. So who knows? You're kind of my India agent of my spirit connection to it. And what I also just want to lastly say is that I love that you're not pushing any kind of spirituality or religion, and just by being who you are being the transmission, of just your choices. Just who you are is the model, is the inspiration of choice, of going with the flow and putting your energy toward what's needed and what you love and what are passionate about, no matter what the hardships are. And just thank you for being a beautiful model of that and the goddess energy.
Thank you. What need I say? You're a goddess yourself, and it's so nice to connect with a muse like you. That's what I would say.
Muses everywhere. All right,
Yeah,
here. Well, I will be sharing links to your work and your book and things below. So get in touch with Kalki. Thank you, sister. We'll be chatting soon.
thank you, Varishka, and all the best for all the great things you have been doing. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can't wait to listen to that talk in Florida too. Aloha.
Absolutely. Thank you.